Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me. If you're a continued supporter, your time is appreciated, and I hope you're benefiting from these little videos, these little breakdowns, pose breakdowns. If you're new to the channel and you do like what you see, it'd be great if you could subscribe. Again, support is always appreciated, growing this channel. I do have a couple of communities on school. The main one is for men, so it's a support kind of community, accountability community, explore kind of life and perceptions and reality, maybe your reality, my reality, shared reality. That's the free man community on a platform called School. The link is in the description below, and also there is another community which is open to all, just helping us relax and unwind and get ourselves away from the stress in life. But again, the links are downstairs, down in the description below. They're both free at the moment. Join in, get free access to me. We can have conversations about all sorts of weird and wonderful things. And yeah, it'd be great to see you there. Today we've already done lunge way back at the start. Tutorial up here, but maybe go back to the start of the playlist if you're new to the playlist. We've already done lunge, but we're going to do kind of lunge roll back, so working with the hamstrings and the hip flexors for a little bit of release of the hips and thighs. Okay, so we'll come down into a lunge position. We start in the back knee down. It's a low lunge, toes tucked or untucked, it doesn't really matter. We're aiming right knee roughly above that right ankle. Okay, hands either side of the foot. I'd normally say just because we're rolling back, I try and say the hands in line with the ankle. It creates a little bit more space. Because what I tend to see is when people do this is they kind of walk the hands back here and they're there, and then they walk the hands back. But we want to try and find a little bit of depth into the pose. Okay, so a little bit more activation. I also see people collapsing and rounding. I want to try and keep the heart high as we lift back. Hips sink down, heart stays up and high, and then press the hips forward. So we're finding our lunge position, and again what I tend to see is people coming into a lunge in this kind of square position. You're not going to get any sort of stretch into your left hip flexor here, front of the left hip, or into the quad. So we're after getting as much of a slope on that left thigh as possible. Right knee roughly above the right ankle, and then that slope on the left thigh. That gives us our lunge position. Then you may well already be able to feel some sort of stretch into your quad, moving into the hip flexor as you push the hips forward. Generally, pressing the hips forward as you inhale. And as you exhale, roll back. We're lifting the toes. Again, people tend to plant their foot down. We're lifting the toes here. So that gives a deeper stretch down the back of the calf, back of the hamstring. Press the hips forward, lunge, and then roll back, lift the toes. Heart stays high, trying to keep the hands at the top of the mat. Okay, it's what we're aiming for. Always listen to your body, and if you can't, if you're here and you're not feeling a stretch in the hamstring but you can't go any further, then obviously take the hands back so you can open up. That's the main function, is opening up the back of the right leg. But what we're aiming for over time is finding this position. We can roll back, we can open up the back of the right leg, we can press the hips forward, and this is where the hip flexor. Now we're pushing the hips forward on the inhale, we're opening up that left hip flexor into the quad. And then we'll exhale, roll back, lift the toes, deepen that stretch down the back of the right leg. Rolling forward, press the hips forward, rolling back. Abdominal engagement, so the hips are driving up that way. The hips are sinking down, the core's pulling back. It's a nice abdominal engagement. Press the hips forward. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Good. Again, as I said at the start of the playlist, bodily modifications for you. If it's completely inaccessible, taking the foot back with the hands at the top, and you're not getting a stretch, if you get here and you're getting a stretch, that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. We're after the stretch. If you're here and you're getting a stretch, that's fine. Over time, we want to be opening up, straightening that leg. Push the hips forward. Always good to find balance and do either side, so pushing the hips forward, nice lunge. And then roll back, lift the toes. You may find one side slightly more intense than the other. Quite common, quite normal. Exhaling back. Inhaling forward. Exhaling back. Good. Inhaling forward. Okay. So we're not collapsing. We're not rounding into the back and keeping the foot down here. We're not walking the hands all the way back here. Where possible, over time, you may start with walking the hands back a little bit. Over time, we want that mobility. Open up the shoulders, strong in the core, engage through the arms. So it's like you're reaching forward. There's always a push and pull sensation in yoga, nearly all poses. You've got the activation, you've got the surrender. There's the push and the pull, the yin and the yang. So always polarities, always opposites. Good. Just play around with it. It's really nice if you've got tight hamstrings. It's a fantastic release of the hamstrings. Press the hips forward. Again, you want that slope on the back thigh. So we're not here, we're not as a little box. We're not here, you're not going to get any sort of stretch. Even like, you're going to end up all out of shape. Even when you come back, you can sit down and, granted my hamstrings might be open more than some, but, there's nothing. So take the foot back, find that position first. Left knee above the ankle, as much of a slope on that right thigh as possible here. Feel the stretch into that right hip flexor, front of the right hip. Then you can take the hands down. We've got deeper variation into the full lunge. Hips press forward as you inhale, exhale, roll back. Okay. Just introducing it because that is coming into the sequence, coming up shortly. Okay, it's a nice little release of the hips into the quads. Nice release of the hamstrings, down the back of the knees, into the calves as well. Really good for releasing that lower half of the body. Nice abdominal engagement. I've touched on it before. Apart from opening up the heart and doing your back bends, abdominal engagement is kind of key throughout a yoga practice. We really want to keep that abdominal area, core area, engaged when we're practicing. In our mountain pose, in our tree pose, in our downward dog, even in this, we're engaging the core. We're pulling back, lifting the hips back and down. It comes from the core. So stabilizing the core gives us structure and foundation in all the other poses. Dhanyavad. With gratitude. See you in the next video.